So I was reading around trying to think where did this come from, and I was reading a sociologist called Anthony Giddens, who in fact was the director of the LSE for a while. And he famously, or he was well known for developing this category called ontological security, and there was a moment when I just realised that vulnerability is the condition in which you lack this security, and seeing that it was the other side. So there was a huge literature on security, and then just noticing that vulnerability was the other side of this question. So when you notice things like that, that open whole new ways of seeing the law, that's very, very exciting, and yeah, that's one of my favourite things. The other, in teaching, my favourite thing is when you ask a question of a group of students and they start to argue among themselves about it, and not just in a stupid opinionated way, but using the relevant kinds of arguments that they would need to use, say to convince a judge or to seriously impact on legal policy. When students start doing that and I can step back, I think I'm doing this right. It doesn't happen as often as I'd like, but it does happen from time to time, and that's definitely my favourite moment in teaching. The fact that it's not in the same town where I live, and as a result I have to commute to it, that's probably the thing I like least about it, although maybe that's not the work's fault. The second thing I like least about it is the meetings. Meetings about various priorities that we're supposed to have that are not really related to higher education. Often they're supposed to be meetings about teaching, but really it's people worrying about things that have nothing to do with what's useful in the classroom. It's kind of an open professional secret, is marking undergraduate written work. A few academics really enjoy that. We're asking undergraduates to write about very difficult questions when they're just at the beginning, especially as I mostly teach first years. They're just at the beginning, their writing's not very good, and the material is unfamiliar and difficult. And so correcting that work and trying to write useful comments for them is very, very hard work. Intellectual work, you really have to think hard about what it is that they're getting wrong and what they need to do, and it has this relentless quality. It's a great privilege to be paid to think. I mean, academia is not what it used to be. The amount of time we get to just think, to read, and to think about what we read is a lot less than it was once. But it's definitely the best part of the work. Reading what's been written in the past and what your colleagues are writing now, and trying to work out how it doesn't answer a question that's in your mind, or even working out what are the right questions to ask here. What are people missing? What have we missed about this aspect of the law or of society? Asking those questions and then ploughing through the material, looking for the answers, that's great fun. And then the other thing is being in the room with young people, trying to draw them out, get them to clarify their thoughts on what they've read, get them to articulate more clearly or what they're thinking, and pushing them to think harder. That's really good fun and privilege. On Mondays I get up at about 5:30, and I get a train into London, and I teach a lecture at 9 o'clock. First thing, a criminal law lecture, that's 50 minutes. Then I have a couple of hours break and I teach a 2-hour seminar on criminal law theory to a master's class. And then I have an hour break and I teach 2 more hours, 2 separate classes to undergraduate criminal law students. There's no average day. On a Tuesday I'll come in and my one teaching engagement is another hour-long lecture in the middle of the day, but I don't have anything else for teaching, but therefore I'll put in meetings, administrative meetings or meetings with students will be arranged on that day because I'm here and I've only got that amount of teaching. Wednesday afternoons are always when we have the big administrative meetings, the departmental committees, or the various meetings for what we call the school, the London School of Economics as a whole. I might have other meetings, or I might be marking, or I might occasionally, although in term time there's not much time for this, I might be reading and writing my own work. I think if you looked at my contract it would probably say 40 hours a week, but I work way more than 40 hours a week, and it's a very indefinite kind of amount of work that you do if you're an academic. It's a job that never quite goes away. You can't close the door on it and forget about it. Actually teaching students, being in a lecture hall or a classroom with students, about 10 hours a week at the moment, varies slightly from term to term, 10, 12 hours a week. Seeing students, talking to them about their work would be another couple of hours a week, probably, in various different ways. Well, my route to becoming an academic was unusual, I suppose. As an undergraduate, when I came out of school, I studied economics a long time ago, and I really didn't like that. When I finished doing that, I just went and did other things. I wasn't interested. And after almost 20 years of working in public relations and publishing, I wanted to change and thought I'm trying my hand at being a lawyer. So I went back to college and I studied law, intending to become a legal practitioner. And I found the study of law was really interesting, much more interesting than I thought it was going to be. All of human life is there somewhere in the law, and it was a really fascinating insight into how we think we ought to live with each other. So, and that was really interesting, whereas the legal training that I did, the casework I did in working to become a lawyer, I didn't enjoy nearly so much, although I worked for some excellent lawyers. So that really told me that I should pursue the academic side of it. And so I did a master's degree and a PhD, and that went well. I already knew how to write because I'd been working in public relations, so that probably helped. And I'd been thinking about a lot of the issues that had surrounded what was in the PhD topic, and for a long time, and so I had quite a lot to say, and so I got published quickly, and got an academic job really before I finished the PhD. I value the possibility that in small ways I've discovered things that weren't known before, that weren't thought about before. That's what you hope to do as an academic researcher. You, as a scholar, is one of the words that's used. You read through the books and you notice things that's ways of solving a problem that people haven't written about before. That's definitely the thing I value most. The possibility that I've been involved in that activity. That's of the highest value.